Father Christmas, Kris Kringle, St. Nicholas, Santa Claus. No matter what you call him, you know the story. A big jolly man in a red suit, white beard, and a sack full of toys slung over his shoulder. He is one of the most recognizable figures on Earth, appearing on billboards, in shopping malls, flickering across television screens in every corner of the globe. But here's what they don't tell you. That jolly man in red, he's not who you think he is. He's not even one person. He's an amalgamation, stitched together over thousands of years from the fragments of ancient gods, forbidden rituals, medieval saints, and corporate propaganda. Every year, millions of children wait for him. Parents perpetuate the myth. Entire economies depend on his image. The Santa Claus as he exists today has been altered and added to by artists and advertisers who understood the power of mythology and weaponized it. But what if I told you that his origins trace back to a bearded Norse god who hunted souls through winter storms? To a Turkish bishop whose generosity became legend, but whose true identity was lost to history? To European folklore figures who didn't reward children, but punished them? Santa Claus is one of the most recognizable figures on Earth. His image transcends language, borders, and religions. But here's what most people don't realize. Beneath that cheerful exterior lies a complex web of ancient rituals, forgotten deities, medieval legends, and calculated cultural engineering. Santa Claus didn't appear fully formed. He was constructed piece by piece, century by century, by civilizations that needed him to mean something different each time. Long before Santa Claus ever existed, winter was a time of fear. In the frozen darkness of Northern Europe, pagan cultures told stories of gods who rode through the sky during the coldest months. Odin, the Norse All-Father, led the wild hunt, a ghostly procession of spirits and warriors that swept across the night. He was bearded, cloaked, and commanded an 8-legged horse named Sleipnir. Sound familiar? During the winter solstice, when the sun was weakest and darkness ruled for nearly 20 hours a day, communities didn't gather to rejoice. They gathered to appease. The Norse held Yule, a multi-day festival where they burned massive logs to coax the sun back to life. They sacrificed animals, sometimes even prisoners, and left offerings of food and drink outside their homes, hoping that the spirits passing overhead would spare them. They believed that if Odin's wild hunt spotted you during its midnight ride, you could be swept away and taken to the afterlife before your time. The Celts observed Samhain in late autumn, marking the boundary between the living world and the realm of the dead. In the winter, they lit bonfires and wore masks to ward off malevolent spirits wandering the earth. The Romans celebrated Saturnalia in late December, a festival where gift-giving was mandatory. It was chaotic, indulgent, and designed to honor Saturn, the god of agriculture, in hopes that he would bless the coming planting season. These weren't joyful holidays. They were acts of negotiation with forces far beyond human control. Give to the gods, and perhaps they'll let you live through the cold. The symbolism of flight, beards, and midwinter generosity was already ancient by the time Christianity arrived. Then around 280 AD, a man named Nicholas was born in Patara, in what is now Turkey. He became the Bishop of Myra and was known for his acts of generosity, especially toward children. One legend tells of him secretly leaving gold coins in the shoes of 3 poor sisters. But here's the twist. Much of what we attribute to Nicholas of Myra was likely conflated with another Nicholas, a different saint from a different region. The historical record is murky. What we do know is that by the Middle Ages, St. Nicholas had become one of the most venerated figures in Europe, celebrated on December 6th. Over the centuries, cultures from around the world adopted him into their myths, reshaping him to fit their own beliefs. In the Netherlands, he became Sinterklaas, a stern bishop who rewarded good children and punished the wicked. In Germany, the Protestant Reformation rejected Catholic saints, so they created new figures: Christkind, an angelic gift-bringer, and Belznickel, a fur-clad, sometimes frightening companion. The pieces were gathering. But Santa Claus, as we know him, still didn't exist yet. In the early 1800s, Dutch settlers brought Sinterklaas traditions to New Amsterdam, which was later renamed New York. But it was American writers who began reshaping the myth into something new. In 1809, Washington Irving published A History of New York, whimsically describing a jolly Dutch version of St. Nicholas flying over rooftops in a wagon. It was satire, but it planted a seed. Then, in 1823, Clement Clarke Moore wrote A Visit from St. Nicholas, better known today as 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. This single poem did more to define Santa than centuries of European tradition. Moore gave him a sleigh, reindeer, a bag of toys, and the image of him sliding down chimneys. He made Santa plump, cheerful, and magical. But he still didn't look like our Santa. That transformation came later through the pen of cartoonist Thomas Nast. Beginning in the 1860s, Nast illustrated Santa for Harper's Weekly. He gave him a workshop at the North Pole. He created the naughty and nice list. He dressed him in fur-trimmed red. By the late 19th century, Santa was becoming standardized. Department stores began hiring men to dress as Santa. Advertisements featured him. Children wrote him letters. And then in 1931, Coca-Cola commissioned artist Haddon Sundblom to create a series of Santa illustrations for their holiday campaigns. Sundblom's Santa, the rosy-cheeked grandfatherly figure dressed in Coca-Cola red and white, became the global standard. From that point forward, Santa Claus was no longer just folklore. He was a brand, a product, an icon that could be exported, reproduced, and adapted across every medium. Santa Claus is not one story. He is the fusion of hundreds of stories told over thousands of years. Norse gods who hunted souls through winter storms, Christian saints who saved children from poverty and despair, Dutch settlers who brought their stern bishop across the Atlantic, American poets who softened him into a fantasy, corporate marketers who dressed him in their colors and sold him to the world. Every layer added something and erased something else. The pagan wildness was tamed by Christianity. The Christian severity was sweetened by folklore. The folklore was sanitized by literature. The literature was commercialized by advertising. Each generation took what they needed and discarded what no longer fit. What we celebrate today is not a relic of the past, but a living myth constantly updated, reshaped, and reimagined to reflect the values, aesthetics, and economies of the present moment. The truth is this: Santa Claus was never discovered. He was designed piece by piece, century by century by cultures that needed hope, generosity, and magic during the darkest time of the year. The impact of Santa Claus on modern society is staggering. He is the engine of a global retail economy. Christmas shopping drives billions in revenue every year, and Santa is the face of it all. His image sells everything from cars to cologne. But beyond commerce, Santa has become a moral framework. The idea of being naughty or nice introduces children to concepts of judgment, reward, and consequence. He represents selflessness, generosity, and the belief that goodness will be recognized. Santa has also evolved with the times. In recent decades, debates have emerged over his portrayal, his race, his body type, his environmental footprint. Some cultures have reimagined him to reflect local traditions. Others have questioned whether the myth itself is ethical in an age of consumerism and misinformation. What's undeniable is that Santa Claus continues to adapt. He is not frozen in history. He is rewritten, redesigned, and redefined with every generation because that is what myths do. They survive by changing. Santa Claus is not a lie. He is a story built across millennia, shaped by pagans and priests, poets and painters, merchants and dreamers. He is the product of human imagination, a figure we collectively agreed to believe in, not because he is real, but because he represents something we need.